Welcome to Book Crew. We are on KCCC 9:30 a.m. in New Mexico on Mondays at noon. We're available on YouTube under the Task Force Geek banner. And by the time you hear this, we'll be on every major podcast aggregator out there. I am writer and marketing Jedi Dirk Hooper, and I'm joined as always by author and editor Beth A. Freely. How you doing, Beth?
I'm doing good, Dirk. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Hanging in there.
Got some exciting stuff going on here, don't we?
We sure do. I'm going to just kind of throw it over to you. As you can see from I didn't bury the lead. We're on terrestrial radio. Please tell us all about that.
We are on terrestrial radio. So Dirk and I have been talking about this for a couple of years now, trying to see where we can take Book Crew podcast and everything. And when we decided to resurrect it this year, I said to Dirk, hey, I know somebody with a radio station here in Carlsbad, New Mexico. Now, in case you're wondering, Carlsbad, New Mexico is where all the cabins are. And it's not Carlsbad, California. It's Carlsbad, New Mexico. We're the good Carlsbad. I said, let me reach out to Johnny Chandler with KCCC. He's the owner of the local AM radio station. He's all about giving back to the community, all about helping with the community. He runs the Southeastern New Mexico College's podcasting class. And he's really, when I came to him and said, Johnny, do you have a time slot? Here's what we're thinking. He's like, yes, I've got one for you. So, yeah, we are legit. We are going to be on the radio starting March 31st at noon. Johnny's already running advertisements for the Book Crew. And this is really, I'm still pinching myself because I got a radio show. Dirk and I have a radio show.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
crazy.
We got a radio show.
I know. Yeah, I can't believe it. Yeah, it's crazy. I have to say, first off, Johnny Chandler sounds like a name of a character who's like a swashbuckler or something. I want to put a character in my book named Johnny Chandler.
I think you need to. I think
that's
awesome.
That. Like Johnny Chandler Private Eye or something. Anyway,
that would be good. Yeah.
I just wanted to say, because I've wanted to be on local radio for a long time. Back when most of my friends were listening to hair bands and stuff, I was listening to talk radio. Like when I was a kid, I was listening to talk radio, which I adopted it very early for some reason. And over the years, there were a couple of shows that really stuck out to me, including Coast to Coast AM, which was on from midnight until very early in the morning, with Art Bell. And they talked about, aliens and UFOs and werewolves and all kinds of super, super crazy stuff that now they have whole television channels of, And then later on in the early 2000s, I followed Science Friday on NPR, which I still listen to as often as I can.
Yeah.
What attracted me then and now to terrestrial radio is that, you can listen to music all day and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you listen to talk radio, you learn stuff all day. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's very powerful. And I also am a strong advocate of local radio because it's local. It means that, you typically don't have some overarching global power that's coming down and telling people what to put on there. So that opens up the doors to people like Beth and me who would like to talk about books or many other things. I mean, you get a strange, wonderful melange of topics on local radio that you wouldn't get if it was a big corporate owned entity. So, I'm very excited. Personally, I'm very excited about being on local radio. It's very awesome.
Me too. I'm glad I reached out to Johnny about it to find out, if he had a time slot that we could snag and everything. And he was excited. One, because I am a local author, in the area, and two, he loves the idea of what we're doing with Book Crew and, not only helping other authors and writers with our tips and tricks and ideas as we talk through some of the things, but also being able to interview other authors and help them get word out as well. So he was really
For
all
sure.
for it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to our feature interview.
Yes.
Angel Nix is an author of paranormal, contemporary, and post-apocalyptic romance, as well as reverse harem and why choose romance. She's also a mom, furmom, nana, and an avid gamer chick. Angel Nix, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
We're glad to have you here. I'm so glad you decided to come and join our crazy little conversations.
I see that you're also very familiar with paranormal because you write it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So that goes right along with my.
Always been it will always be my first love.
Any particular subgenre of paranormal? Ghosts, vampires, werewolves,
shifters. Yeah.
Shifters.
Very interesting. Well, give us a brief overview of your author journey, where you started and where you are now.
I actually kind of I started back in like high school writing poetry, and then I segued into writing fan fiction. I actually started writing Lord of the Rings fan fiction, back in like the 90s.
I'm sure you're not alone on that.
Yeah, and then I stopped for the longest time, and I came across I started writing some Anita Blake fan fiction, and then I came across the Mercy Thompson series by Patricia Briggs. Mm-hmm. And that reignited my passion for writing. I started writing fan fiction based on that. And then I was like, you know what? I want my own characters like Mercy Thompson. And that was how my first book, Wild Lilies, began. It was supposed to be a one-shot book set in Montana. Yeah, well, it ended up being a 12-book series, standalone interconnected series set in New Orleans instead.
Gee, we don't know anything about that, do we, Dirk?
For sure. Now, I haven't written 12 books, but I'm definitely gearing up towards that.
Well, no, I have the first 6 and then the prequel of that written, but I actually have 26 books out so far. I've been writing since 2017.
That brings me to my next question, which is, obviously you are very prolific. What's the key to your productivity?
Honestly, most of what I've written was written last year. I got COVID in August of 2020, so at the very beginning of the pandemic. So from August of 2020 till the end of 2023, I barely got 69,000 words written. It was like my muse was completely blocked from brain fog. And then last year, I was a writing fiend. I wrote over 600,000 words. Most of them were 25,000 to 30,000 word novellas, but that was a lot of words. So most of this year's books and some of next year's are already written. So
there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean, it was just the words were flowing, so I just kept writing.
Yep.
It slowed down some, which I'm glad because I worried about burnout.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sure. Let's talk about Merciless Few Connecticut chapter series. And your book is Tank's Ruin.
Tank's Ruin, yes. It just released on the 4th.
I got invited. Put the picture for that up here.
Yes, that is I love that. I got invited into that series in 2022. It's a collaboration that an author named Lenny Lawless started, and another author was like, "Hey, we're putting together this collab. Would you be interested?" I'd never written MC books. I'm like, you know what? Let's try something new. So I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yep.
I was supposed to start publishing in 2023. The first book didn't actually come out till last year. And that was Griff's Mercy. And then I had Sin of Salvation. And then Tank's Ruin just came out this month. I'm loving this series. I have 6 books. I just got a 7th cover done because another character decided, hey, I need a book. And I'm going to be writing I'm going to be writing 5 short stories. Yeah, 5 short stories about characters that had pairings that were already set in the first books, kind of like their short stories about how they became couples. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's the series has been a lot of fun to write, and it's kind of ignited the idea of different types of MC series. I have a paranormal MC series I'm kind of loosely playing around in my head with now too.
Well, you got me sparked on a paranormal MC series with our biker chicks.
Oh,
Our
the Rome
paranormal.
Queens. The Rome
Yes, the Rum
Queens.
Queens.
Yes, the Rome Queens.
Brain fog. Yeah. So
You say MC.
That's Motorcycle Club.
Yeah. Always want to make sure that everyone understands what we're talking about.
Yeah,
What is
Motorcycle
it?
Club.
Is that just a really hot genre right now? The
It
motorcycle
really
club
is.
thing?
And the genres tend to switch. Like for a while there, the big thing was Omegaverse. But now a lot of people seem to be getting into writing motorcycle club books. I mean, I see a lot of authors coming out with them. And I didn't pick this up for that reason. I just decided it was something I'd never written before. I
It'd be
wanted
fun.
to try it.
Yeah.
I was
Explain-
stepping out of my comfort zone.
explain to the listeners what Omegaverse is.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
that was my next question.
okay. So Omegaverse is where you have a male or female character who is they call it an Omega. It's in the Omegaverse, the Omega has a special scent. And the alphas will go insane over their scent. And when it's a perfect pairing, that is the only time the Omega can come into heat and procreate.
Okay, so it's definitely shifter based.
Yes, it's shifter based. Well, no, not necessarily, because I have actually read some where they don't shift, but it's still it's the same type of concept, but they're not shifters.
Okay,
it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me where they wouldn't be shifters, but I'm like, okay.
That's funny. Obviously there were a couple of motorcycle club television series.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's probably what drove the interest. But, when I see that sort of stuff, I think, I could write something like that. That seems like a pretty, like what kind of research did you have to do to kind of get the realism,
just talking with a couple of the people that had already been writing in the series, because they had done some research, and just looking online, getting the lingo, making sure I had the correct lingo, and they already had a long list of resources, so that helped.
Yeah,
that helped a lot. Now, if I had just tried to start on my own, I probably would have been completely lost. It would have taken me a lot longer to get going had I just tried to jump in with both feet without having any resources on hand. So that helped me a lot, them already having a bunch of resources. And the person who organized it, her husband used to be part of a motorcycle club.
Oh, that was handy.
He is a former he was 20 plus years patched in, so
wow.
he was in a club for over 20 years.
Where can you get that book? I'm going to show it again.
You can get that on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, Kobo, Smashwords, Google Play, and Eden Books.
I'm going to be asking you another question on that subject here in just a second.
No problem.
What's your process after you finish the first draft of your book?
It's funny because most people do multiple drafts. I write it out. I read through it, make sure it's clean, send it to the editor, do what edits they want, and then it's published.
See, that's all I do too. I don't typically do multiple drafts.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm like, why would you kill yourself going through 5 different drafts?
It's brutal.
Of the same book?
It's brutal.
Why?
Yeah, it could be brutal for sure.
Like, why? Why kill the joy of this book?
Right.
I don't understand that.
Do you hand off all of the other chores to other people, or do you have a publisher, or what?
No, I do it all myself. I do use someone to help with the editing and, of course, covers usually. I have started making some of my own covers, as long as it's not something like extremely fancy. Like, I can't do fantasy type stuff. I'm just not that. Yeah. I just don't know. I tried using some of the programs like GIMP. Nope. I tried. I even used the walkthrough on YouTube. Could not figure it out. Gave up. So those, I will go to my go-to designer for that.
Yep.
But But otherwise, no, I do it all. I foot the bill for the marketing and.
Yeah.
So you're like you're pretty much like the rest of us indie authors. We do
Yep.
everything that we can do, editing, formatting,
Yep, I do my own
at least
formatting.
the first round editing, formatting,
Yeah.
all of that, and then pitch out to the others. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty common theme among us indie authors at this point.
Yeah.
The next two questions are kind of related. If people go to your website and they click, you have a website that lists all of your books essentially, and then they
Yeah.
click on the books, it sends them to a service or a website called bookstoread.com. Can you talk a little bit about what made you choose that and what they do for you?
Bookstoread.com is simply just a universal place to get access to the different stores where the book can be purchased, so that they can choose their preference, because not everyone uses Amazon.
Right.
This
for
way,
sure.
if they want to purchase from Amazon, they can go there. If they want to purchase from Apple, they can use the Apple link. I do have Eden Books on there. Eden Books is specifically for romance authors. It is an
Okay.
indie-owned, indie-published online bookstore owned by a wonderful woman named Robin Crawford. She started this 6 years ago, I think, 7 years ago.
Something like that.
Something like that. She has had moments where she's thought about giving up, because there's just times where the money's just not coming in, because she does not get much out of the sales. But there are so many authors on there. She won't give up, and
it's a labor of love.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a labor of love for her.
Yeah,
but it's just a universal buy link. It just makes it easier for people to go to their preferred store to purchase my books.
Yeah, well, that brings up the next question, which is something that I just talked to Beth about 20 minutes ago, and that is, I mean, obviously you're distributing your stuff wide, and for those who don't know what that means, specifically for an author, you have a choice when you're distributing ebooks, and you have basically two choices. You can either distribute it exclusively through Amazon in their Kindle Select program, and thereby not offer ebooks any other place, or you can distribute it wide, which means that you offer your ebook across the network. This has nothing to do with printing books or anything. This is just about the choice of whether you want to offer your books to Nook and Kobo and all of the ebook distributors out there, in addition to Amazon or not. You can still offer it on Amazon, but you're not going to be in the Kindle Select. So obviously you've made the decision to go wide. Can you talk about why you decided that?
When I started publishing in 2017, I was in Kindle Unlimited strictly. As a new author, I felt that was my best option because nobody knew me. Right. And I recommend that to people who, if they have no base whatsoever, no fan base, if they've done nothing to start promoting their work leading up to publishing, go into Kindle Select, go into Kindle Unlimited for a little while, build up that fan base, and then you can decide, go hybrid, have some in Kindle Unlimited, go wide with some, see how you do. When my page reads dropped to almost nothing, and I was lucky to get $4 or $5 a month, that was when I decided, okay, why am I killing myself with Kindle Select?
Right.
Knowing that my books are being pirated, which put me at risk, because if Amazon found out that my books were being pirated, they would ban my account.
Right.
I made the choice to withdraw my books from Kindle Unlimited and went wide. Most of my book sales still come from Amazon, but I'm happy being wide because I do still reach a wider audience of readers.
Yeah, I think that's you broke that down really well. I think that it kind of, because if you're a new person, Kindle is going to or Kindle Select or Kindle Unlimited is going to send you some new readers.
Yeah.
They really will do that. But I've read that a lot of people who have, a few books under their belt, that they get about 50% of their sales from, or 50 or 55 from other places,
Yeah.
from other places besides.
Some authors do amazing in Kindle Unlimited. I mean, I know authors who are making 6 figures a month.
Yeah.
Not me.
In Kindle Unlimited. And I'm like, hey, you go.
Right,
you go,
right.
girl, you go, guy, whatever your gender is, whatever you
Yeah.
identify, you go. I will support you all the way.
Sure.
That wasn't me. So I made the best choice for myself, and they're making the best choice for them. And if it works for them, it works for them. I'm not going to tell someone what they should or should not do. I'll just tell them, this is what worked for me.
Yeah. But you also bring up a really good point about Amazon and their whole thought process behind, oh my gosh, your book is somewhere else, we're going to ban your account. I know they're horrible about supporting indie authors when we do find books of ours that have been pirated and then they discover it. They don't want to hear it. They don't care. And I know quite a few authors, have struggled with that to keep their Amazon accounts, because they have found that it's been pirated, so that really kind of brings a fine point to the amount of research that indie authors need to do when they are trying to make the decision, do I just want to go exclusive with Amazon, or do I want to go hybrid, which technically is what I am now, seeing as how I have some ebooks on Amazon because of Shared Worlds that I've done, or if I just want to go solely wide. So I think I agree with Dirk. The way you broke that down is beautiful because it gives people something to think about, as they're starting on their own journey.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of on the same subject, what would be your advice to someone who's just now getting into the writing business?
Find your tribe.
Yes.
Find those people who, no matter what is going on, are always going to be there to give you the advice that you need. Whether you like the advice or not, they're going to give you the advice that you need. They're always going to be there for you. It took me a while. I mean, and when I first started, I had a small tribe. And then when I got sick, I kind of backslid and I wasn't around. And yeah, I understand that some of them still stuck by me. And I've found a new tribe. There are some core people. I mean, I have some of my tribe are some of my ARC readers. I have a few ARC readers that have been with me since 2017.
Oh, that's awesome.
They are like, one of them, she even messaged me, she emailed me and she's like, hey, do you still want me on your team? I can't review on Amazon anymore. They are no longer allowing me to. They haven't given a reason, but I'm like, you know what? You have been reviewing for me consistently since I started. Yeah, I could care less. You want to review on Goodreads and BookBub? Go for it.
Yeah, that's great.
So find those people who have your back.
Yep,
that's really good advice. Let's talk about. I'm going to destroy this name here. Let's see if I can find it first.
You're not going to destroy
Slava Ukraini.
Slava Ukraini. Yeah, Slava Ukraini.
Let's talk about that, please.
Okay. I decided to, with what's going on in Ukraine and the way the sitting president responded to the turmoil, I was heartbroken with the way he reacted. And I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. I just could not. Yeah. So I put it out there, hey, if I wanted to put this charity anthology together, who would want to join me? I had immediate responses. Yeah, that was one of them. I had immediate responses. And I'm like, it would be a quick turnaround. I'm talking, I want to publish by the end of next month. And they're like, so, okay, we're still in. So I have like 15 authors. And then I had another author, or I had 14 at the time, or no, 15 at the time. No, 14. I had another author message me and he's like, hey, I've been meaning to message you. I think life has kind of been crazy for me. It's like, do you still have room? Are you still accepting people? I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
you know. He's like, because I can have a story to you, and I've worked with him before. I've been his copy editor and his proofreader. You know, he's a wonderful author. I'm like, yeah, sure. You know, so he's part of it now too. And it's just, we haven't decided yet. I'm getting ready to compile the list and put it in the chat and in our group to decide. We're going to decide democratically which organization all proceeds are going to be donated to, because we're not keeping any of the money. It's going to be run for 6 months, and every penny that we get will be donated to help Ukraine in some way, shape, or form.
Are you taking any more submissions, or is it locked?
Absolutely.
If someone's interested, where do they need to go?
If someone is interested, they can actually message me on Facebook. It's author Angel Nix is my Facebook name. They can message me, and I can, or they can even get a hold of Beth, and Beth can get a hold of me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they can get a hold of Beth, and Beth can say, hey, this person reached out to me, and I can get them the link, and they can sign up, and I'll get them in the chat and in the group, and we'll go from there.
And if you're interested in reading it, where would you go? I mean, I know it's not published.
It is wide, so they can find it on Amazon, Apple, Kobo, Smashwords.
We're putting it out via. Are we putting it out via B&N, Barnes and Noble?
Yes, and Barnes and Noble. Thank you. I was like, wait a minute, where's the other one?
You can be sure that if Beth is in it, we'll talk about it about 20 more times. So, so you won't have to worry about that. Is there anything else that you'd like to push before we wrap things up?
Nope, I think I'm good. That was the one I really wanted to discuss, because that one's really special right now.
Let's give the listeners an idea of what kind of stories they're going to find in that anthology.
Oh, in that anthology. Okay, so these are, I'm going to give you guys, let me pull it up real quick because I have it listed in here. I'll give you guys the tropes that I have listed from the authors.
Well, you know what mine was, so.
Yeah, let me pull that up real quick from my phone. These are the tropes, okay? We have demons. We have a virgin female character, overcoming adversity, enemies to lovers, witches, age gap, spicy romances, paranormal, ghosts, accidental mating, best friends, soldiers in arms, and friends to lovers. Those are just some of the tropes. I haven't gotten information from all of the authors. Those are just some of the things that they've told us.
And the main theme of the book
is freedom, adversity, overcoming adversity, resilience, that kind of thing, and perseverance.
Awesome. All right. Well, it's promotion time. I want to put your books up here, and I'm going to put your banner up here. Let's see if I can get that going. And if you would just tell us where people can find you, Angel.
They can find me at all my books. They can find on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Eden Books, Kobo, Google Play. I'm trying to think. Smashwords. You can find me personally at Goodreads, BookBub, Audible, Amazon, of course. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I do have a TikTok. I don't use it very often. I'm on Blue Sky. I do have a Patreon as well. I only have one patron at the moment, but that's fine.
That's more than I've got.
Yeah. And it's funny. She actually helped me set up my Patreon, and she's like, you know what? I'll just go ahead and do this. I'm like, okay, thank you. So
those are wonderful, but it's so tough to get people to sign up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even for $3 a month, it's like, hey, $3, folks. Good deal. All right, and again, is there anything else that you want to push before we get out of here?
No, I'm good. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for being here very much.
Yes, thank you for coming on. We appreciate it.
Beth, it's time for you to do some promotion, so I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hey,
where can they find you?
You can find me at Facebook under Beth A. Freely. You can find me on Instagram under B.A. Freely. My link tree, which is the easiest thing to get to, is B.A. Freely. You can also find my website at bethanne, A-N-N-E, freely.com. And if you're looking for editing or website work, please reach out to me via themusesfunhouse.com.
She did that so well. I'm going to throw my stuff up here. I'm at writeworks@darkhooper.com. You can also find my spicy stuff at asherlake.net. That's my pseudonym. I'm also at the Muses Funhouse. I'll talk about that in just a second. And probably the best place to find me online is on Facebook, dirk.hooper. I don't know why they made me put that dot in there. I hate it. I hate the dot.
It's a thing. Embrace the dot, Dirk. Embrace the dot.
Before we go, this is it. Before we go, I want to say that Beth A. Freely is offering editing and book trailer services, and I'm offering author branding and social media management at the Muses Funhouse. Check out the website or contact us at the email addresses, which I didn't put up. You can, there you go. You can get us at the email addresses that I have below. For our guest, Angel Nix, for Beth A. Freely, I'm Dark Hooper saying, dream hard.
Take care, everyone.